I teach a sermon prep class. I go, you guys get nervous before you speak? And they always go, yeah. I go, why are you nervous? Think about, why are you usually nervous? You're usually nervous because you're wondering, are these people going to like me? Am I going to do a good job? What are they going to think about me? It's me. And I go, when you get nervous, that's usually a sign of sin. It's usually because you're thinking about what they're thinking of you and how they're going to respond to you. Is it really like you're nervous because you want to please him so badly? And say, God, I just want to say whatever you want to say. Like if I die in the middle of this message, I want to know that my last words were the things that you wanted me to say about you. Man, I've had friends die while preaching. It's crazy. Just insane, so I don't walk up here and just go, okay, whatever. I go, no, God, I want to say what you wanted me to say so that if this is the last words out of my mouth, if this is it for me, I want to end it the right way. Man, and it very well could be. And I had one friend of mine, this is one of the freakiest things that ever happened. This was a long time ago. My buddy Stan Gerlach, he was I was in my office and someone calls me and says, hey, did you hear what happened? Stan Gerlach was at a funeral giving a eulogy and he died at the funeral. I'm like, what? And then, so I go rushing over to the house, over to Stan's house, and his wife's just getting home. Susie's just getting home, and she's crying. She can't believe she was my husband. He's gone. I'm hugging her. She's crying. Then her son, John, comes out, of the car. Big guy. He's like 5'10", No, I'm not that short, but this big guy, he comes out of the car. And he's crying. He's going, Francis, that was my dad. My dad, he's gone. And then he smiles. He goes, Francis, did you hear what happened? I go, no. He goes, my dad died while he was preaching the gospel. And he goes, I'm so proud of my dad. And so then I start hearing the story. See, what happened was he was given this eulogy at this funeral, and he's just thinking, man, there's probably people here who don't believe in God. I got to just lay it out for them all. And he starts talking about this guy and saying, look, I know he's in heaven. I know he's in heaven because I was the one that prayed with him. I was the one that led him to the Lord. And then he starts telling everyone in the room. He goes, listen, the reason why he's in heaven is not because he's a good person. We've all screwed up, but he believed that Jesus really did die on that cross for his sins and paid the penalty for his sins. He really believed that Jesus rose from the dead, and he really did change his life. And then he looked at the crowd. He pointed at them. I was told he pointed at them, and he says, listen, you never know the moment when God is going to take your life. And at that moment, there's nothing you can do about it. Are you ready? And then he sat down and fell over and died. Dude, talk about an exclamation point to your sermon, Man, and so his kids are trying to bring him back to life and everything, but it was just like he said. He goes, listen, you don't know when God's going to take your life, and at the moment, there's nothing you can do about it. And he's gone. And so John's telling me the story. Meanwhile, all these people are going into their house, because they just all heard the news, just like me. So we're all flooding in the house. You got grandkids, you got neighbors, family members, friends. They're all going into the house. And the moment I walk in, his wife Susie just like, Francis, can you say something to us? Everyone's crying. They're like, say something. And I'm like, all right, and I just grab my Bible. And the Spirit led me to Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10, where Jesus says, if you will confess me before men, I'll confess you before my Father in heaven. But you deny me before men, I'll deny you before my Father in heaven. But if you confess, you know what that word confess, it just means you speak up for me. If you confess, it's like a witness. Like if you witness like an accident, it's this guy, says, hey, I was standing there and a bus ran me over, and if you witness it, you would go, I saw it. The guy was standing there and the bus ran him over.